I didn't marry a monster. I married a man, and discovered the monster later. My name is Sarah, and this is the story I've never told anyone. Not my mother, not my friends, not even the therapist I saw for 3 months before I couldn't afford it anymore. This is the truth about how I married into the Mafia without knowing it, and how that knowledge destroyed everything I thought I knew about love, trust, and the man I slept next to every night. I met Vincent on a Tuesday in March, 7 years ago. I remember it was a Tuesday because I had just gotten my paycheck from the hospital where I worked as a pediatric nurse, and I was treating myself to an actual lunch at a cafe instead of eating vending machine crackers in the break room. He was sitting 2 tables away, reading a newspaper, wearing a charcoal suit that looked expensive but not flashy. When our eyes met, he smiled. Not a predatory smile, not a cocky smile, just warm, human. He asked if he could join me. I said yes. We talked for an hour about nothing important. Books we'd read, places we wanted to travel, the weather. He was charming in an old-fashioned way, the kind of man who stood when I excused myself to the restroom, who listened when I spoke instead of waiting for his turn to talk. When he asked for my number, I gave it to him without hesitation. Our first date was at an Italian restaurant in Little Italy. Vincent knew the owner, who greeted him with a hug and called him Vinny. They spoke in Italian, rapid and familiar, and I felt charmed by it all. The food was incredible, the wine was perfect, and Vincent made me laugh until my cheeks hurt. He told me he worked in import-export, that he'd grown up in the neighborhood, that family was everything to him. I should have asked more questions. I should have wondered why a man in his mid-30s who ran a successful business had never been married, why he was always vague about exactly what he imported and exported, why his phone rang constantly and he always stepped outside to take the calls. But I was 31, tired of dating apps and disappointing setups, and Vincent made me feel like the only woman in the world when he looked at me. We dated for 8 months before he proposed. It wasn't a grand gesture, no flash mob or stadium jumbotron. We were walking through Central Park on a Sunday afternoon, and he just stopped, took my hand, and said, "Sarah, I want to spend my life with you. Will you marry me?" The ring was beautiful, platinum with a single diamond that caught the autumn light. I said yes before he even finished asking. The wedding was small, intimate. My family was there, my mom crying happy tears, my dad looking proud in his rented tux. Vincent's family was different. His mother, Rosa, was a tiny woman in black who hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe and whispered in my ear, "You take care of my Vincent, yes? You be good wife." His father had passed away years before, but there were uncles, cousins, men with thick accents and thicker necks who kissed my cheeks and called me beautiful. I noticed things at the wedding. Small things. The way people deferred to Vincent's Uncle Sal, how conversations stopped when certain people approached, the envelopes of cash, so much cash, that piled up on the gift table. Vincent laughed when I mentioned it later. Italian families, baby, we like to give cash. It's tradition. I believed him because I wanted to believe him. The first 6 months of marriage were bliss. We moved into a brownstone in Brooklyn, a place I couldn't imagine affording on our combined income. But Vincent said he'd gotten a good deal through family connections. The house was beautiful, renovated, with original hardwood floors and a kitchen that made me want to learn to cook. Vincent was attentive, loving, present. He came home most nights by 7, we had dinner together, watched movies curled up on the couch. He made love to me like I was precious, like I mattered. But there were cracks, small at first, hairline fractures in the perfect picture. Like the night his phone rang at 2 in the morning. Vincent answered it immediately, fully awake, as if he'd been waiting for it. He spoke in Italian, his voice low and tense, and I caught words I didn't understand. When he hung up, I asked who it was. "Just business, baby. Go back to sleep." At 2 in the morning? Import-export doesn't keep regular hours. Different time zones. I wanted to ask which time zone, but his hand was already stroking my hair, his lips on my forehead, and I let it go. Or the time I answered his phone when he was in the shower. A man's voice, rough and urgent. Tell Vinny we got a problem with the thing in Jersey. Needs handling tonight. He's not available right now. Can I take a message? There was a long pause. Who the fuck is this? I'm his wife. Another pause, longer. Then, carefully, tell him Polly called. He'll know. When I told Vincent, his face changed. Just for a second, something cold and hard flashed across his features before the warmth returned. Polly's an idiot, always dramatic about nothing. What exactly did he say? I repeated it word for word. Vincent nodded, kissed my cheek. Nothing to worry about, sweetheart. Just business stuff. But that night, he didn't come to bed until 4 in the morning, and his knuckles were bruised. What happened to your hand? Hit it on the car door. Stupid. I wasn't paying attention. The bruises were across all 4 knuckles, symmetrical, like he'd punched something. Or someone. I started noticing patterns. Vincent's business meetings happened at strange hours. In strange places. He'd meet people in parking lots, in parks, at diners in neighborhoods we never visited otherwise. He always paid in cash, carried rolls of hundreds in his pocket like they were nothing. When I asked why he didn't use credit cards, he said cash was simpler, cleaner, no paper trail for the accountant to deal with. No paper trail. I should have heard that phrase differently. We'd been married for a year when I met Tony Soprano. Not the TV character, a real man named Tony who everyone called Big Tony, because he was 6'4" and built like a refrigerator. Vincent brought him to our house for dinner, said he was a business partner. Tony brought his wife, Angela, a quiet woman with expensive jewelry and sad eyes. Over pasta and wine, the men talked. I tried to follow the conversation, but it was coded, layered with meanings I couldn't parse. So that thing with the trucks got resolved? Tony asked. Yeah, took care of it. Won't be a problem anymore. What about the guy who was making noise? He's quiet now, very quiet. They both laughed. Angela didn't. She just drank her wine and looked at her plate. Later, while I was getting dessert from the kitchen, Angela followed me. She stood in the doorway, watching me slice tiramisu. How long have you been married? She asked. Just over a year. She nodded slowly. You seem like a nice girl. Normal. Thank you, Sarah. She said my name carefully, like it might break. Do you know what your husband does? Really does? My hands stopped moving. He's in import-export. Angela laughed, but there was no humor in it. Yeah, that's what they all say. She stepped closer, her voice dropping to almost a whisper. Listen to me. The less you know, the safer you are. Don't ask questions. Don't go looking. Just be the wife, cook the meals, and don't think too hard about where the money comes from. I don't understand. Good. Keep it that way. She touched my arm, her grip surprisingly strong. My Tony? I've been married to him for 15 years. You know how many times I've almost left? How many times I've packed a bag and made it to the door? But you don't leave. Once you're in, you're in. They don't let you go. And even if they did, what you know makes you a liability. What are you talking about? She released my arm. Nothing. Forget I said anything. The tiramisu looks delicious. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay next to Vincent, listening to him breathe, and I felt like I was sleeping next to a stranger. Who was this man? What did Angela mean? I wanted to wake him up, demand answers, but fear kept me still. Fear of what? I couldn't say. The next morning, I did something I'd never done before. I went through Vincent's things. Not overtly, not like I was searching, just casually opening drawers while he was at work, looking through papers on his desk. Most of it was innocuous, bills, receipts, normal life debris. But in the back of his closet, behind his winter coats, I found a safe. It was small, the kind you bolt to the floor, with a digital keypad. I didn't know the combination. I didn't try to guess. But its existence haunted me. What did my husband need to lock away? I started paying attention differently. I watched how people reacted to Vincent when we went out. The way waiters hurried to service, the way managers appeared to comp our meals, the way certain men would spot him across a room and immediately come over to shake his hand, whisper in his ear, treat him with a deference that went beyond respect. It was fear. I was seeing fear. One night, we went to a club in Manhattan, a place with velvet ropes and a bouncer who waved Vincent through without a word. Inside, it was all chrome and neon, beautiful people dancing to music so loud I could feel it in my chest. Vincent knew everyone. Men clapped him on the back, women kissed his cheeks, and we were led to a private booth where drinks appeared without us ordering. I was sipping champagne, trying to relax, when I saw it. Across the club, a man was staring at Vincent. Not friendly, not casual. Intense. Hostile. Vincent saw him too. His entire body changed, going rigid, his hand gripping his glass so tight I thought it might shatter. "Stay here," he said. "Vincent, what? Stay here." He walked across the club, and I watched him approach the man. They talked, their faces close, and even though I couldn't hear them over the music, I could read the body language. Aggression, barely contained. The man said something, and Vincent's hand shot out, gripping the front of his shirt. Then, just as quickly, Vincent let go, smiled, clapped the man on the shoulder like they were old friends. When Vincent came back, he was sweating. "What was that about?" "Nothing. Old business. Forget about it." "Vincent, that didn't look like nothing." "Sarah," his voice was sharp, a tone I'd never heard him use with me. "Drop it." I dropped it, but I didn't forget. The turning point came on a Thursday in October. I was supposed to work a double shift, but a coworker covered for me, so I came home early. Vincent's car was in the driveway, which was unusual for 2 in the afternoon. I walked into the house and heard voices from the kitchen. Male voices, tense and angry. I should have announced myself. I should have walked right in. Instead, I stood in the hallway and listened. "He's talking to the feds, Vinny. We got it from a reliable source." I didn't recognize the voice. "You sure?" "Vincent, my guy inside confirmed it. He's wearing a wire, met with them twice last week." "Fuck," the word came out like a punch. "We need to handle this." "How you want it done?" There was a long silence. I held my breath. "Make it look like an accident. Nothing that comes back on us. Consider it done." I must have made a sound, a gasp, a shuffle of feet, because suddenly the voices stopped. I heard footsteps, and then Vincent was in the hallway, his face a mask of surprise. "Sarah, baby, you're home early." My shift got covered. His eyes searched mine. "How long have you been standing there?" "I just walked in." "Who's here?" "Just Polly. We're talking business." A man appeared behind Vincent, the same Polly who'd called that night months ago. He was shorter than Vincent, stocky, with cold eyes that looked at me like I was a problem to be solved. "Mrs. D," he said, nodding. "I should let you guys finish," I said, my voice shaking. "We're done," Vincent said. Polly was just leaving. After Polly left, Vincent and I stood in the kitchen. I could barely look at him. "What did you hear?" he asked quietly. "Nothing. I didn't hear anything." "Sarah," I said, "I didn't hear anything." He studied me for a long moment, then nodded. "Good, that's good, baby. You don't want to hear things that aren't your concern." "What do you do, Vincent?" "Really do?" "I've told you. Import-export. That man, the one you were talking about. Are you going to hurt him?" "Sarah, stop. Are you going to kill him?" The word hung between us, obscene and terrible. Vincent's face hardened. "You don't know what you're talking about. You heard part of a conversation, out of context, and your imagination is running wild." "Then explain the context." "I can't." "Why not?" "Because you don't need to know. Because it's safer for you if you don't. Because I'm protecting you." "From what?" "From everything." His voice rose, angry now. "From a world you don't understand, from people who would hurt you to get to me, from knowledge that makes you a target. Do you understand? Your ignorance keeps you safe." "I don't want to be ignorant. I want to know who I married." "You married me, Vincent DiMaggio, the man who loves you more than anything in this world. That's all you need to know." But it wasn't. Not anymore. I started doing research. Late at night, when Vincent was asleep, I'd take my laptop into the bathroom and search. Vincent DiMaggio, plus, Brooklyn, yielded dozens of hits, but most were other men with the same name. Then I tried DiMaggio family and organized crime, and the results made my blood run cold. There were articles, old newspaper clippings, FBI reports that had been made public. The DiMaggio family was a known crime organization, involved in everything from loan sharking to gambling to labor racketeering. Vincent's uncle Sal was named specifically, identified as a capo, a captain in the organization. There were photos, grainy and old, of men I recognized from our wedding. And there, in one article from 5 years ago, was a mention of Vincent himself, identified as a known associate of the family. I sat on the bathroom floor, shaking, reading article after article. There were stories of violence, of murders, of people who disappeared and were never found. The DiMaggio family had been under investigation for decades. But witnesses disappeared, evidence vanished, prosecutors lost cases. They were untouchable, and I had married into them. I thought about Angela's words. Once you're in, you're in. I thought about the safe in the closet, the late-night phone calls, the fear in people's eyes. I thought about the conversation I'd overheard, make it look like an accident, and I wanted to vomit. When I came out of the bathroom, Vincent was awake, sitting on the edge of the bed. You were in there a long time. Just felt sick. He looked at me, really looked, and I knew he could see through the lie. Sarah, come here. I didn't move, please. I sat next to him, keeping distance between us. He reached for my hand, and I let him take it, feeling the warmth of his skin, the calluses on his palm. I love you, he said. You know that, right? I don't know anything anymore. Yes, you do. You know I would never let anything hurt you. You know I would die before I let anyone touch you. You know that whatever I do, whoever I am, my love for you is real. Is it? Can it be real if everything else is a lie? I never lied to you. You never told me the truth. There's a difference between lying and protecting. Not to me, not anymore. He was quiet for a long time. Then, what do you want me to say? You want me to tell you I'm a bad man? Fine, I'm a bad man. I've done bad things. Things that would make you hate me if you knew the details. But I'm also the man who holds you when you cry, who makes you coffee exactly the way you like it. Who would burn the world down to keep you safe. Both things are true. How can both things be true? I don't know, but they are. I pulled my hand away. Did you kill someone? Silence. Vincent, did you kill someone? I can't answer that. That means yes. It means I can't answer that. I stood up, suddenly desperate for space, for air, for anything that wasn't this. I need time. I need to think. Okay, take your time, but where could I go? This was my home. He was my husband. I had nowhere to run. I didn't sleep that night. I lay on my side of the bed, as far from Vincent as possible, and watched the ceiling. He didn't try to touch me, didn't try to comfort me. We just lay there, together and completely alone. The next few weeks were a special kind of hell. I went through the motions, got up, went to work, came home, made dinner. Vincent was gentle with me, patient, giving me space but staying close enough that I knew he was there. We didn't talk about that night. We didn't talk about anything important. We existed in a careful silence, like two people defusing a bomb. I thought about leaving. I really did. I could pack a bag, get on a plane, disappear. But Angela's words echoed, what you know makes you a liability. If I left, if I ran, what would Vincent do? What would his family do? And even if they let me go, could I ever really be free? Would I spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder, waiting for the knock on the door, the car that followed too closely? The person who knew too much? I was trapped, not by locks or chains, but by knowledge and fear. Then, in November, everything changed. I came home from work to find Vincent in the kitchen, sitting at the table with his head in his hands. There were papers spread out in front of him, and he looked broken. Vincent, what's wrong? He looked up, and his eyes were red. They got Polly. What do you mean, they got him? The feds picked him up this morning. He's being charged with murder, racketeering, the whole thing. I sat down slowly. Is he going to jail? If he's convicted, He'll die in prison. 30 years minimum. I should have felt relief. One less murderer on the streets. But all I felt was cold dread. Are they coming for you next? I don't know. Maybe. Polly knows things. If he talks. Will he talk? Vincent laughed, bitter and harsh. He shouldn't. There's a code, you know? Omerta. You don't talk. You don't cooperate. You do your time. But people get scared. They want deals. They want to see their families. He looked at me. I don't blame them, really. Prison is. It's a special kind of death. You could cooperate too. You could make a deal, testify, go into witness protection. And spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder? Hiding from my own family? They'd never stop looking. You don't betray the family and live. What are you going to do? I don't know. He reached across the table, took my hand. But I need you to promise me something. What? If they come for me, if I get arrested, you don't wait. You take the money I've set aside for you, and you disappear. Change your name, start over somewhere far away. Vincent, promise me, Sarah, please. Don't be loyal to me in a way that destroys you. If I go down, you save yourself. I wanted to argue, to say I'd stand by him, but the words stuck in my throat. Because I didn't know if I would stand by him. I didn't know if love was enough to overcome what he was, what he'd done. I promise, I whispered. 2 weeks later, at 3 in the morning, they came. I was asleep when the sound of breaking glass jerked me awake. Vincent was already moving, pulling on pants, his face calm in a way that terrified me more than panic would have. Stay here, he said. What's happening? FBI. Don't move, don't say anything. I'll handle it. He kissed my forehead and walked out. I heard voices downstairs, loud and authoritative. FBI, search warrant. Everyone show me your hands. I wanted to hide, to disappear. But I forced myself to get up, to put on a robe, to walk to the top of the stairs. Below, our house was full of people in windbreakers with FBI stenciled on the back. They were everywhere, opening drawers, photographing rooms, carrying boxes. Vincent was in the living room, hands cuffed behind his back, surrounded by agents. He saw me on the stairs and his face crumpled for just a second before he composed himself. Vincent DiMaggio, you're under arrest for racketeering, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit murder. You have the right to remain silent. The words washed over me like water. I watched them read him his rights, watched them lead him toward the door, and all I could think was, this is real. This is happening. My husband is a criminal. Ma'am? An agent was standing next to me, a woman with kind eyes and a no-nonsense voice. I'm Special Agent Martinez. Are you Sarah DiMaggio? Yes. We're going to need to ask you some questions. Do you understand? Yes. Do you have somewhere you can stay? We'll be processing this scene for several hours. I thought of my mother's house, my childhood bedroom. Could I go there? Could I show up at 3 in the morning and explain that my husband had just been arrested by the FBI? I'll figure something out, I said. Agent Martinez handed me her card. Call me tomorrow, or today, I guess. We need to talk about what you know. I don't know anything. She looked at me with something like sympathy. That's what they all say. But you'd be surprised what you know without realizing it. Phone numbers, names, places. It's all in there. She tapped the side of her head. And we're going to need it. They took Vincent away. I watched from the doorway as they put him in a black SUV, his head ducked, his hands still cuffed. He didn't look back. When the FBI finally left, around 7 in the morning, my house looked like it had been ransacked. Drawers hung open, furniture was moved, there were fingerprint powder and evidence markers everywhere. They'd taken the safe from the closet, Vincent's computer, boxes of papers. They'd taken my life and dissected it, looking for proof of crimes I didn't commit but benefited from anyway. I called my mother. Sarah, honey, it's so early. Is everything okay? Mom, my voice broke. Can I come home? She didn't ask questions. Of course, baby, come home. I packed a bag, threw in clothes and toiletries, the essentials. I was heading for the door when I remembered Vincent's words. Take the money I've set aside for you. Where would he keep money? I went back to the bedroom, started searching. Behind the dresser, taped to the back, I found an envelope. Inside was cash, tens of thousands of dollars, and a key with a number written on it. A storage unit, maybe? A safety deposit box? I took it all, not because I wanted to disappear, but because I didn't know what else to do. My mother's house was the same as I remembered, small and warm and smelling like the lavender sachets she kept in every closet. She hugged me at the door and didn't ask why I was crying. She just made tea and sat with me at the kitchen table, holding my hand. Vincent got arrested, I finally said. Oh, honey, by the FBI. They said murder and racketeering. My mother was quiet for a long time. Then, I never trusted him. What, Vincent? I never trusted him. Something about him was off, too smooth, too perfect. Your father said I was being paranoid, but a mother knows. Why didn't you say something? Would you have listened? You were so happy, so in love. What was I supposed to say? Don't marry him because I have a bad feeling? She was right. I wouldn't have listened. Over the next few days, the story broke in the news. Vincent's arrest was part of a larger sweep, a coordinated takedown of the DiMaggio crime family. 15 people were arrested, including Uncle Sal. The news called it the biggest blow to organized crime in New York in a decade. There were photos of Vincent being led into court, orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed, looking smaller somehow than he did in my memory. Agent Martinez called me every day. She wanted me to come in, to talk, to help build the case. I kept making excuses. I wasn't feeling well, I needed time, I had to process. But she was persistent. Sarah, I understand this is hard. But your husband is part of a criminal organization responsible for untold suffering. People have died because of what they do. Families have been destroyed. You have a chance to help us stop it. I don't know anything that could help you. Let us be the judge of that. Just come in and talk. Please. I finally agreed to meet her at a coffee shop, neutral territory. She came alone, dressed in jeans and a sweater, trying to look non-threatening. We sat in a corner booth, and she ordered us both coffee. How are you holding up? She asked. How do you think? I think you're probably terrified, confused, angry, and heartbroken. Am I close? Tears pricked my eyes. Yeah, you're close. Sarah, I want you to understand something. You're not in trouble. We know you're a civilian. That you didn't know what Vincent was involved in. You're a victim in this too. Am I? Aren't you? I thought about the money I'd spent, the house I'd lived in, the life I'd enjoyed. All of it built on crime, on violence, on people's suffering. I don't know what I am. Agent Martinez leaned forward. Then help us figure it out. Tell me what you observed. The people who came to your house, the phone calls, the conversations you overheard. It all matters. So I talked. I told her about Polly's phone call, about Angela's warning, about the conversation I'd overheard about making something look like an accident. I told her about Big Tony, about the men at the club, about every small detail I could remember. And with every word, I felt like I was betraying Vincent, even though I knew he'd betrayed me first. When I was done, Agent Martinez was taking notes furiously. This is good, Sarah. This is really helpful. Would you be willing to testify if it comes to that? Testify? In court? Potentially. If we go to trial. The thought made me sick. Standing in a courtroom, looking at Vincent, telling a jury about the man I'd married. I don't know. You don't have to decide now. But think about it. The DiMaggios have hurt a lot of people. They've killed people. You could help us make sure they pay for that. After she left, I sat in the coffee shop for another hour, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. You talked to the feds. Big mistake. My blood went cold. I looked around the coffee shop, suddenly paranoid. Was someone watching me? Had someone seen me with Agent Martinez? Another text. Vincent's family takes care of its own. But traitors? Traitors get what's coming. I called Agent Martinez immediately. She answered on the first ring. Sarah, what's wrong? I'm getting threats. Text messages. Someone knows I talked to you. Read them to me. I did. She swore under her breath. Okay, don't panic. This is intimidation. Trying to scare you into silence. Where are you right now? Coffee shop. The one where we met. Stay there. I'm sending someone to get you. You might need protective custody. Protective custody? Like witness protection? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But we need to keep you safe. 2 agents picked me up 20 minutes later. They took me to a hotel, a bland chain place off the highway, and put me in a room on the 4th floor. They told me not to leave, not to call anyone, to wait for Agent Martinez. I sat on the hotel bed, in a room that smelled like disinfectant and other people's lives, and I realized, this was my life now. Hiding in hotel rooms, looking over my shoulder, afraid of shadows. This was what loving Vincent had cost me. Agent Martinez came that evening with pizza and more questions. We sat on the floor of the hotel room, eating cold pepperoni slices, and she laid it all out. The texts are coming from a burner phone, untraceable. But the timing suggests someone in Vincent's family knows you talked to us. They're trying to scare you. It's working, I know. But here's the thing, you're only in danger if you're a threat. If you cooperate with us fully, testify, help us build our case, we can protect you. Witness protection, new identity, new life. But if you stay silent, if you go back to your old life and pretend none of this happened, you're still a loose end. They'll never trust you again. What are you saying? I'm saying you're in this now, whether you want to be or not. The only way out is through. Help us, and we'll help you. I thought about Vincent in his cell, waiting for trial. Did he know I'd talked? Did he hate me for it? Can I see him, Vincent? I don't recommend it. I need to see him. Please, she sighed. I'll see what I can do. 3 days later, I sat in a visiting room at the Metropolitan Detention Center, waiting. The room was divided by glass, phones on either side for communication. It smelled like industrial cleaner and despair. Vincent was led in wearing an orange jumpsuit, his hair longer than I'd ever seen it, dark circles under his eyes. When he saw me, his face did something complicated, cycling through relief, joy, pain, and anger in rapid succession. He sat down, picked up the phone. I did the same. "Hi, baby," he said, and his voice cracked on the last word. "Hi, you look good, tired, but good, Vincent. I know you talked to them. It's okay. What? You did what you had to do. I don't blame you." Tears were streaming down my face now. "I'm sorry, I didn't know what else to do. They were threatening me, and I was scared, and... Hey, breathe. It's okay. Listen to me, Sarah. I need you to hear this. I love you. I will always love you. But you need to walk away. Take whatever deal they're offering and disappear. Start over. Forget you ever knew me. I can't forget you. You have to. This life, this world, it's poison. I brought you into it without your consent, and that's on me. That's my sin, but you don't have to stay poisoned. You can still have a good life, a clean life. What about you? I'll be fine. I've got good lawyers, and the case isn't as strong as they think. Maybe I'll beat it, maybe I won't, but either way, you can't wait for me. You need to live your life. They want me to testify against you." He was quiet for a long moment. "Will you?" "I don't know, Vincent. I don't know anything anymore. I don't know who you are, who I am, what's real. I loved you. I still love you, but I hate what you've done, what you've hidden from me. I know, and you should hate me. I lied to you every day we were together, not with words, but with silence. I let you believe I was someone I'm not. That's worse than lying. Why did you marry me? If you knew this could happen, if you knew your life was dangerous, why bring me into it? Because I'm selfish. Because for the first time in my life, I met someone who looked at me and didn't see the family, didn't see the business, just saw me. And I wanted that so badly I convinced myself I could keep you separate, keep you clean. But there's no clean when you're dirty, Sarah. Everything I touch gets stained." We sat there, crying on opposite sides of the glass. Unable to touch, unable to comfort each other. The guard tapped his watch, signaling time was almost up. "I have to go," Vincent said. "But before I do, I need you to promise me something." What? Don't come back here. This is the last time we see each other. Walk away, take the deal, start over. And Sarah? Be happy, fall in love again, have kids, do all the things we talked about doing together, but do them with someone who deserves you. Someone good, Vincent, promise me. I promise. He smiled, sad and broken. Goodbye, Sarah, I'm sorry for everything. Goodbye, Vincent. I watched them lead him away, and I knew I'd never see him again. Agent Martinez helped me negotiate a deal. I would testify in exchange for protection and relocation. They set me up in a small apartment in a city I'd never been to, helped me find a job at a hospital under a new name. Sarah DiMaggio died, and someone else was born, someone who jumped at loud noises and checked the locks 3 times before bed. The trial took 8 months. I testified for 2 days, recounting every conversation I'd overheard, every suspicious meeting, every detail that could help build the case against Vincent and his family. I didn't look at him while I spoke. I couldn't. The jury found Vincent guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to 35 years in federal prison. Uncle Sal got life. Polly had already made a deal and was in witness protection somewhere. The DiMaggio crime family, the news said, had been dismantled. I should have felt relief. Instead, I felt empty. I tried to build a new life. I made friends at work, went on dates, tried to pretend I was normal. But late at night, when I was alone, I'd think about Vincent. About the way he made me coffee, the way he laughed, the way he touched me like I was made of glass. I'd think about the man I married versus the man he actually was, and I'd wonder if either version was real. Years passed. I stopped jumping at shadows, stopped checking over my shoulder. The nightmares became less frequent. I even fell in love again, a kind man who knew nothing about my past, who thought my name was Rachel and that I'd grown up in Ohio. We got married, had a daughter. I tried to be happy. But there's a picture I keep, hidden in the back of a drawer where my husband will never find it. It's from my wedding to Vincent, both of us smiling, young and hopeful and doomed. Sometimes I take it out and look at it, trying to remember what it felt like to love someone completely. Before I knew what monsters they were capable of being. My daughter is 3 now. She has Vincent's eyes, something I didn't expect, something that makes my heart hurt every time I look at her. She's innocent, perfect, everything I tried to protect by walking away. And sometimes, when I'm putting her to bed, I think about what I would tell her if she asked about her real father. Would I tell her the truth? That her father is a criminal, a murderer, serving 35 years in a federal prison? That her mother was complicit through ignorance? That she lived in a house built on blood money? Or would I lie, the way Vincent lied to me, and tell her that some stories are better left untold? I got a letter last month. It was forwarded through my lawyer, who has strict instructions never to give anyone my location. The return address was a federal prison in Pennsylvania. Vincent's prison. I almost threw it away without reading it, but curiosity won. Sarah, it said, and seeing my real name in his handwriting broke something inside me. I don't know if you'll read this or if you've moved on completely and the woman who was my wife doesn't exist anymore. I hope she doesn't. I hope you're happy, wherever you are, whoever you've become. I think about you every day, remember every moment we had together, the good and the bad. I want you to know that despite everything, despite the lies and the pain, my love for you is real. Is real, will always be real. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and destroying you was my greatest sin. I hope someday you can forgive me, but I'd understand if you can't. I can't forgive myself. Yours always, Vincent. I burned the letter in my sink, watching the paper curl and blacken, watching his words turn to ash. But I can't burn the memories. I can't erase the years I spent loving a man who was both everything I wanted and everything I should have feared. People ask me sometimes, my new friends who know nothing about my past, if I believe in soulmates. I always say no, because if soulmates exist, if there's one person in the world who's meant for you, and mine turned out to be a killer, what does that say about me? What does that say about the universe? I married a man and discovered the monster later. But the real horror isn't what he was. It's that I loved him anyway. That part of me, a small, broken part one keep locked away, still loves him. And I'll carry that guilt, that shame, that impossible love for the rest of my life. This is my confession. This is my truth. I didn't marry a monster. I married a man, and discovered the monster later. And in discovering him, I discovered something monstrous in myself. The ability to love someone despite everything, to mourn the loss of something that was never really real. I can't escape what I married into. Even now, thousands of miles away, living under a different name, I'm still his wife in the ways that matter. Still haunted by the question that wakes me up at night, if I had known from the beginning, would I have loved him anyway? I'm afraid the answer might be yes. And that terrifies me more than anything else.